आता बघा. तुला दोन्ही नंबर शेअर केले त्यांचे, 2 नंबर त्यांचे दोन्ही शेअर केलेत. हा हा, भूषण माझं नाव आहे. हा हा हा.
Yes, yes. आणि बरं झालं. काय सांगा डेव्हलपमेंट मध्ये जायचं असलं पण डेव्हलपमेंट मध्ये प्लेसमेंटला जाऊ कंपनी बसते ठीक आहे ना theoretically ठीक आहे तुम्ही yes 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 practically yes 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 obviously that's why I'm saying you have the advantage over the fresher. Kick start better.
Good afternoon, everyone. I, Rupali Modak, FDP coordinator from IICMR, warmly welcome all the participants to the National Level Faculty Development Program on the theme Deep Dive into Functional AI Opportunities. This topic was chosen to empower educators and professionals with practical insights into AI applications, helping us stay aligned with the rapidly evolving digital world. Now, I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Rajendra Agavne for further proceedings. Thank you.
Good afternoon, one and all. As we have today endured to 5 days FDP on a deep dive into AI, let me introduce today's guest and director of the Institute MBA at ISMR, Dr. Abhay Kulkarni. Now he has a vision who believes in continuous improvement to be done continually. His qualifications include PhD in Six Sigma, MMS, and he is an engineer. Now his qualifications with respect to Master Black Belt in Six Sigma. He is Executive Member Board of Studies in Pune University. He has also a recognized guide in Organizational and General Management in Pune University. He has successfully guided 4 students and awarded PhD. 4 are undergoing at this moment. He is also into corporate training into TPM, TQM, Quality Circle, SPC, Lean and Six Sigma. His industry experience spans from 22 years and academic experience spans for 18 years. He is an approved director of the SPTU University. He has contributed to 5 MBA syllabus revision and CAP. He has conducted corporate training for SKF, Insan, PMI, MCCIA, and IOE. His publications include 29 papers published at national and international level, papers presented at national and international level 11. He has got patents under his belt, which are two. One is Indian and one is international. His awards include 13th Rashtriya Shiksha Gaurav Puraskar for 2020. He's also got an award with respect to National Eminent Academic Leader Award for 2020. He has also been a Lifetime Achievement Award from Elsewhere SSRN for 2021. He is, with respect to the institute that he heads, he's the head of the Center of Excellence IICMR. He is the secretary for Chaitanya Medical College Foundation of Physiotherapy. He is also a fellow of Institution of Engineers. He's a lead auditor for LRQA, and he is a Lean Master Pack built in Six Sigma. He's also a corporate trainer. Now, this is a brief profile of today's expert speaker in this marketing endeavor for a deep dive into AI. So I request Dr. Abhay sir to please continue with the session and enlighten us all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rajendra, and thank you, Rupali, for starting this program. I think we are cross 100, so it's a good time for us to start this national level faculty development program. See, today for first half an hour, I'm going to talk about very important aspects of artificial intelligence, which is a big buzzword, which is being used by industry and academia. Basically, to talk about with faculty members, it is very essential that each and every one should learn technology, because technology is reaping the business world very fast. And the students to whom are we training them, the learning and development which is happening, it is going to be very important because they need to use these technologies for excelling in various business processes. So, considering that, we have coined this topic of AI deep dive into management functions. Since we all are management professionals, let us introspect today with the experts for next 5 days. How are we going to look forward for various business functions and so on? So welcome to an AI-driven tomorrow where imagination meets innovation. So for this next 5 days, that is today, tomorrow, 6th, 7th, and 8th, we are going to use different experts who are working with AI in various capacities to excel in businesses. Today, I'm very glad that I am having with me Dr. Sudhir Asabnis, who is already working with technology and teaching various faculty members in various universities and our institute in MBA department. Today, I'm just going to give the glimpse of AI and management world, how AI is penetrating, how technology is driving, and how we can think of using AI for management functions, not only for teachers, but for students who are going to work with AI. You can understand, and you will have been reading through various newspapers that due to AI, there is a lot of job cutting happening in industry. But I strongly propose my hypothesis today, before I start this faculty development program, that artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to substitute human resource. No. AI and management tools, machine learning is going to support human resource who are going to work in management functions. So AI will not substitute, it will support human resource in various fields. So for that purpose, we need to update and upgrade the understanding of use of AI in various management functions. From this basic perspective, we have coined this 5 days program. So today, after my introduction, Mr. Renu Rajesh, who has written various books on AI, he is expert in the different domains of AI and project management. He is going to explore the world of customer experience, the CX through AI, and which is very, very important. And I always believe that marketing is a function or marketing is an area which is required to be done by every person in all the aspects of business functions. So today we are starting with marketing with Renu Rajesh. Then tomorrow we are going to talk about a panel discussion on optimizing human resources with AI and people analytics. So today I will talk about business analytics to some extent. Tomorrow we'll talk about people analytics, where again Mr. Jay Dholakia, Anuradha Jain, Priyanka Shah, and Vidya Chavan with Dr. Meenal, we will be having a very good panel discussion on how we can explore the human potential with AI. On 6th, we have operations and supply chain optimization through AI, where Dr. Sudhir Hasabnis and Swarup Sham are going to explore how
I hope it's not my network.
हा ऐकू येत नाही बरं का.
Sorry, there is no audio here. Now it's there.
चल घे चालू चल. Okay, sorry for the interruption. अरे चल ना बाजूला कर ना हे. Okay, just start. Sorry for the interruption. अरे हर्षल तू इथे ते ती PPT कुठे आहे? Okay, everyone now in a position to listen to me and see me.
Audio is there. Yes.
Okay, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Please type yes.
Yes.
So
Yes,
everybody is
sir.
done. Can I start now?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Sure,
good.
sir.
Now everyone please mute now so that I will be in a position to accordingly start. So let us start why the very important need of AI. I was emphasizing that the technology is going to drive future businesses. And when the job opportunities in various businesses are going to happen, the faculties need to update and upgrade their knowledge in terms of artificial intelligence and machine learning, which are the buzzwords today widely used. So now let us start the fundamentals of artificial intelligence. I like to drive right from the beginning how AI, ML words were coined and how it is going to help us in future in management functions. When you talk about AI, we should understand artificial intelligence is nothing but we have a data and based on data, we make some patterns. For example, when we go to a doctor and doctor understands the symptoms of the patient, with the symptoms earlier with the family doctor profession, they were in a position to understand the DNA of the family and they were predicting the particular disease and giving the medicines. So it was like database pattern, which was manually done. Now we have our data and this data is given to machine with respect to understanding the historical data, making the pattern and suggesting human being, oh, this is the probability which is going to happen if this data is true. And since machine is learning from the data, we call machine learning. And please remember, this word AI was coined by Alan Turing in 1940. You can imagine he has already developed this AI and which was made universal in 1956 at the Dartmouth conference. And therefore you can see the history and evolution of AI with the timeline. Now why I'm showing you this, it is very important for every faculty member to understand the growth and development from calculator, computer to database decisions to AI/ML technique. And you can see how from 2013 onward, this particular graph talks about machine learning and deep learning. I'm coming to that point. Now, when I see the speed of technology penetration, you just imagine the older faculty members who have used landline telephone. If you see the data, in order to reach to 10 lakh customer for landline, it took 75 years. While for Facebook to reach to 10 lakh users, it took 4.5 years. While using Twitter, it was again fast because data and penetration of social media was so high that it took 8 months to reach to 10 lakh customer on Twitter. Talking about Instagram, because today most people prefer social media is Instagram, where 5 months it took for 10 lakhs. And today, when we talk about artificial intelligence, the most popularly words ChatGPT, it hardly took 5 days to reach 10 lakhs of customers. Now, why I'm telling you this? It is the speed at which the technology is penetrating. Now, what about the data? Because see, I already told you that the AI or ML uses data very frequently. And as you see the social media, and the data penetration. Every day on YouTube, 500 hours per minute, the data on YouTube is there. Per day, 3,000 YouTube new films are getting there on YouTube. Similarly, on Instagram, 50 crore story uploads are taking place. On Instagram, 250 crore per month that data is used. While Gmap, if you see, 5.5 lakhs people per minute is the usage. You can see the tremendous use of data, tremendous availability of data, and the media available with us. And therefore, people are going to say data is oil, data is money. The very reason, with the help of this data, you are going to take business decisions, and therefore importance of data and AI is going to be prominent. Let us take the example of one of the most important problem where the world faced was COVID-19. COVID-19, there was no precedence of that COVID-19 disease. So the Lancet, based on the Spear data, the report was published, and so on and so forth, where so many hospitals across globe data was collected for investigation because nobody was knowing whether remdesivir is going to help, hydrochloride is going to be the solution or remedy. But WHO stopped the clinical trials because nobody was knowing what was the reason and how we can come out of this. I think this is where the opportunity for data specialist, where you can give solution to the problem, is required in AI. Very frankly, on the screen now, you can see 1.7 megabytes of data will be created every second for every person on the earth. You can see what is the potential available now. While 2.5 quintillion bytes of data are created very single day. The green figure, 23 times more likely to gain customer if you use the data, 6 times more likely to retain the customer, and 19 times more profitable than their competitors. Now see, if we have to compete, we have to be in business, we need to use data, you need to grab the data, you need to have availability of authentic, legal, formal, normal data. And that is where the business analytics maturity stage will come. Because based on data, we are going to analyze, and human inputs with this analysis can get the wise decision for the business. And if you convert this into action, you can excel in your business. So this particular analytical diagram typically talks about descriptive, diagnostic, and predictive prescriptive data, because with this prescriptive data, you are going to get decision support for business decision, and then these decisions will follow in automation. Now, this particular graph talks about value versus difficulty. And this is where I think management faculties should clearly understand how information will be valuable in future, even in difficult, to optimize the business decision. So we can move from hindsight, insight to foresight. Like I just now gave the example of doctor. When you describe the symptoms of a problem, of your disease, he understand what has happened. Then when he asked you to go to a laboratory, pathological laboratory, to have sugar test or cholesterol test, whatever tests are required depending on the symptoms, he can diagnose why did it happen, with which viral or bacterial infection has happened. And then he predicts based on the severity of the symptoms. He predicts that this is a dengue, this chloroquine, or whatever decisions he can give. Now, in businesses, you can also predict your productivity, quality, cost, deliverables based on the data, the capturing which is being done by your company authorities. And therefore, the prescriptive analytics, which is the most valuable thing, which can give a foresight to business managers, how can we make it happen in terms of growth of business, in terms of reaching customers, in terms of delighting the customers in business. So friends, the data and value of that data is very important in artificial intelligence. And that is where all the faculty members, all the resource person are going to talk on value-based thing. Now let us pay attention to the very important slide. This talks about left-hand side, there are aspects mentioned, and on the right-hand side, you can see descriptive, predictive, and prescriptive analytics, which I graphically explained you in the earlier slide. When you talk about descriptive analytics, the purpose is understanding the past data. Now, this is where every management person who is working in marketing, HR, finance, operations, or all other fields have to understand the past data. In predictive, he can forecast. In terms of prescriptive, he can recommend actions for optimal outcomes. And that is where the importance of the data analytics is going to be there. If you see the focus in description, what happened, prediction, what will happen, in prescriptive analysis, what should be done to avoid the defect, what should be done to improve productivity. So people can work accordingly. There are various techniques which will be explained by various experts. I will not go into details since I'm going to give the historical view as well as importance and significance of AI. Now, when you talk about examples, I'll just give the examples in descriptive analytics like sales report, customer demographic analysis can be done in description. While in prediction, you can do the sales forecasting and customer churn prediction. Like today, Renu Rajesh is going to talk on the customer experience, the CXO part. While in prescriptive, you can see the resource allocation in supply chain optimization. Like if you want, like today, Amazon and all other big businesses are using these prescriptive analytics to reach out to more customers and to delight more customers. There are various tools like dashboards, OLAP, or regression analysis or linear programming, which is used subsequently. And I think the major area of faculty development is here, because if you use these tools, you can do most of the research like marketing research or research required in finance for developing their business domain areas. So friends, this comes to the mid of my presentation saying that there are 6 data perspectives on which the students and faculty members need to see. If you have ability and skill and knowledge to capture the data, you become most important person in terms of getting into the process excellence journey like Six Sigma or Lean, which is used in industry. When you play with the data, you get exposure, you get experience, and you become expertise. Like when I mentioned Six Sigma method, they play with pictorial, graphical, and statistical data. So you get exposed to this kind of areas of handling data and you become expert from yellow belt, green belt to black belt to master black belt. This is how the data perspective is going to change the lookout and your expertise in playing in analytics. So you need to prepare for various processes, which are the key area which is going to impact your business. For that, you need to understand your analysis, your analytical mind. You need to share those data points and act accordingly to give the business processes. So friend, this slide top down talks about from the basics of getting data knowledge to acting on the business processes, you will get the best out of it. Now, this particular picture talks about, like today, when we talk about research, you do linear programming or regression analysis, where you use statistics and most importantly, the data science. Now, this particular picture talks about the integration of data science and artificial intelligence, where AI and machine learning will lead to the deep learning, where you can take data-based decisions, and people who will take data-based decisions are going to give business excellence and process excellence. And therefore, when we talk about these businesses and data analytics, we go into the deeper insights about the details of events and association and relationship amongst various phenomena. The hidden patterns and meaningful managerial decision making in various functions like marketing, finance, operations, HR, and supply chain. So this is where business analytics is going to help AI, and AI is going to work collaterally with business data science. You already know machine learning today, stop junk mail, spam and delete spam, this kind of thing. But is it going to throw out Excel? My dear friend, we all use Excel and data Excel in various ERP, which is developed by Gartner and so on. So Excel become more user friendly, and you can use Excel and advanced Excel to take the data to use in AI. But you never have to forget your numerical ability, because as I always say, hardware and software can be purchased. Thoughtware lies with human being, and that is where faculties and tomorrow's future generation are having these numerical abilities are going to use these to develop AI tools. And therefore, when I talk about AI as a multidisciplinary field, it is a modeled human brain. So human brain is important where machine is using, like machine is going to stimulate human intelligence through computer systems. They are going to utilize algorithms and data to functions. This will enable machines to perform tasks requiring human intelligence, and therefore human intelligence cannot be replaced. So my hypothesis, which I started with, AI is going to support and not substitute human being. So what we should do? We should learn, we should do reasoning, and we should be always part of solving the problem than creating the problem, where you can take data-based wise decision making. And this will be supported by the digital revolution. See why there was a difference between 1956 to 2013 to 2025 we are talking, because the data availability has come with the digital revolution. With the internet and intranet, we see the revolutionized connectivity, 5G, 6G and industrial revolution 5.0 coming now. So this enables faster access to information and it enhances global collaboration. So today we can get the data access from any part of the country, any part of the world, and this is the advantage of digital revolution, which is backbone of AI. So friends, the digital revolution with distributed computing is going to scale data processing. Because now we need to process the data. We got the data. Now distributed computing will help the data processing for analyzing. We already know the power of IoT and IIoT, where it generates a lot of data, and the mechatronics, and very importantly, the social networking is fosters the unstructured data, which is also very important. Now, what is that thoughtware is going to do? I always say, ask why 5 times. You will come to the root cause of the problem, why it happened. So, example like today we are going to talk about customer experience. Customers are complaining about poor grocery deliveries because products are not packaged properly, because the products are arriving damaged condition. There are issues related to customer handling, like packers have not completed required training, or grocery packers are not adequately trained. So this is where learning and development of human being will be equally important when you talk about database decision. And friends, therefore, what is more important here is the database decisions. So when we talk about AI, AI is transforming operations, decisions, and serving customers, because finally business is for meeting customers. And if customers are there, we have taken the right decisions and we are operational perfectly. When you talk about AI's role is no longer limited to only technology, it influencing the core management functions. So when we talk about core management function, now I'm coming to planning function like engine function of management to control the engine, the guard function of, like if you consider planning to control as a railway, the planning function, you can use predictive analytics for forecasting, scenario planning using simulations like market trend, market research. When you talk about organizing, you can use automated workflow allocations, AI-based project management tools. I think Renu Rajesh can definitely talk on some of the project management tools used in AI. When you talk about staffing, where the HR function like recruitment, resume screening and video interview analysis is already being done by most of the companies like Microsoft, where workforce analytics can be done. When you talk about direction, AI assistants and bots for employee guidance, like FAQ today, most of the chatbots are being used where personalized leadership coaching via AI platforms is done. When you talk about the control function, which is the guard function in railway as bogie, you can say real-time performance monitoring can be done where you can see perfectly how the real-time measurement is happening. So when you talk about AI for quality control and compliance tracking, it will definitely assure the supplier quality, which will most important because quality will be sensed and very sensitive from the customer perspective. So friends, all the core management functions AI can integrate. So this is the importance of AI in management functions. So when you talk about detailed functional areas, like tomorrow we are going to talk on human resource management, talent acquisition, employee engagement, and predictive retention can be done through tools like Pymetrics, LinkedIn, Talent Insights, and Hire, where you can use whether the person can retain, whether he will be in a position to, we will be in a position to engage that employee, or how we can acquire the talent which is required in businesses. When you talk about operations, which will be talked day after, that is AI automates supply chain operations. And very importantly, inventory, because inventory carries cost, you all know. And therefore, when you talk about predictive maintenance using IoT and AI in manufacturing, I think it will play a very, very important role in businesses. Talking about marketing management, that is today's topic. AI will enable hyper personalization. Like today, when we Google something based on the search engine gives the data. Like I search for SUV, then on SUV, all the related documents he will provide me. So AI will enable hyper personalization requirement, chatbots for 24/7 support. I think most of the companies have replaced FAQ. They directly use chatbots, not only for operational part, but for service function as well. And very importantly, the sentiment analysis for a buyer. So there are tools like Salesforce, Einstein, HubSpot, Edge AI, and Google AI for ads. I think we all are aware about this. Talking about finance, on the third day, AI will detect fraud, it will automate budgeting, and it will use robo-advisor. I think applications in algorithm trading and financial forecasting will help financial people to understand the finance cost, the perspective. Talking about strategy for the top management, AI supports competitive intelligence, risk analysis, and long-term strategy modeling, where situation-based decision making using big data will help. I hope you all know the very important word big data. And therefore, when we talk about the use cases of marketing, which Reno is going to explore, we have personalized advertisement, email campaigns, and social media posts, which can be done through AI. The best example which I always see is Netflix, where 100 million subscribers, with that comes a wealth of data they can analyze to improve the user experience. So today, lot of providers in big data has helped Netflix massively in their mission, becoming the king of stream today. And lot of changes are happening. So how Netflix is using the big data to drive success? The simple example is that it carries massive amount of behavioral data, and then uses the data to create a better experience for the user. Like in TV rating, we call TRP. Similarly, the ratings are calculated, the searches are done, the date the movie or shows were watched with this historical data, on which device it is watched. Do the nature of the shows vary depending on the device? Accordingly, when is the program paused? When is the customer not happy and switching from one to another? So do portions of programs get rewatched? How many people revisit or relook the same movie or the episode? And do the credits get skipped? So how the credits are, finally it is a business. And therefore, with digital art, with music, with audio visuals, there is a generative field which is generated and Netflix is minting money. I hope you all agree with that. Similarly, in product development, earlier the marketing people have to go door to door, but now trend analysis is possible, is available. Product idea generation is possible, and product design optimization with CAD/CAM tools, product development can be very easily done right from art to part. And therefore, see the fashion industry today on Amazon. You just mentioned your size, whether it is L, XL, XSL, and you show the color, you show the pattern. You can have produce try on experiences, and then you order it instantly. You need not go to shop. So recommend personalized fashion choices are also there. Talking about education and training, where we are here, I think we can prepare customized learning content. Like today we have Swayam and all other portals which are available for learning. You can develop your own thought process with conceptual drive to the applied mind in business with virtual tutors. You can do that. And I think a lot of people are minting money apart from media. So friends, when you talk about AI in daily life, you have personalized experience, which I told you. It automates the task efficiently, like banking transactions, we have already observed. It enhances accessibility in terms of QR code and all other things which we have seen. It improves the convenience, ease of doing business and operations. It ensures the safety and security with OTPs and all that we can intervene. Optimizing navigation routes like Google Map, which I explained in my other slide. And of course, it will enhance healthcare facilities. When I see healthcare industry, yes, we have so many diabetic patients coming in India. And the basic problem after the diabetic conditions, the most important body part which is going to affect is the eye parts. And the eye experts are required today, the most important the retina part, which is to be looked into. So there are a lot of opportunities for doctors to work into these areas. So when I talk about AI, it is not only enabling the efficiency, but it is giving convenience. So you all know the virtual assistant like Siri, Alexa, and Google Assistant helping us with audio system that they will immediately be in a position to give you. There are scheduled reminders. You are already using deliver weather forecast when you want to transit. You can get address queries and manage the smart home devices, which is all being done. So AI is not virtual, it is actual these days. So there are some smart devices which enables AI efficiency with thermostat, lights, and security cameras, where temperature adjustment, light control, and security alert notifications are already being used in various hotels. So when you talk about global CEOs and global CMOs using statista.com, they can already adopt AI into business operations from 23 to 32. And when you talk about global CEOs, they are using 43%. They are exploring options for adoption in the future for this AI. So friends, talking on AI in finance, which will be talked on the third day, where revolutionizing banking and investment and risk management functions will be discussed in greater details. So due to shortage of time, I'm just covering the different aspects of functions of management in terms of retail, customer engagement, inventory management, and of course, marketing, which I explained, personalized marketing campaign, segment customization, and optimizing the campaign performance. We all are using cashless facilities in India today. And I'm very happy, thanks to Corona, from one aspect that everybody started using digitalization. And Aadhaar card connection with PAN card, with banking account has given ease for AI-powered cashierless facilities in retail, in hospital, and all other areas. So coming to the conclusion part of me, since I lost 5 minutes in my technology disturbance, I would like to conclude saying that data-driven decision is the first benefit which AI can interpret vast data sets for better accuracy and speed. It will increase the efficiency by reducing time and cost through automation. Personalization will happen with customized experience, real-time insights with dashboard and alerts, which are already being used in industry, and innovation catalyst which will freeze up the leaders to focus on creative and strategic pursuits. So friends, for AI, we have to drive transformative advancement, which will reshape industries. And as I said, you need to revisit, you need to relook, you need to re-engineer your skill and knowledge ability in terms of thinking rationally with data-based. And therefore, it is going to revolutionize the living standard of people. Now, to get ready to combat AI, I suggest one very important thing to all faculty members. Please read and write. When you read and write, your brain will instigate you to creative thinking, the most important part, the creativity. You do travel, you do social work, you will understand what is the need of society. Accordingly, develop the research work. Accordingly, drive the AI-based role plays, the app stores. And therefore, the most important part for which you are paid in the company is problem solving. And finally, the numerical swiftness, because that is there with every human being. And that's why I said numerical swiftness is numerical ability to solve the problem. It will help. And this is where you will be in a position to use AI very effectively, very efficiently to drive various business processes. So faculty members, with this, my brief introduction of importance of AI, you will be in a position to see how AI can drive business processes excellently. Don't worry about the job reduction. Yes, the typical jobs, the jobs which are mediocre or repetitive will go down. Like travel agent. See, today we can book the air tickets without AI, but only using some of the tools. So the mediocre jobs like travel agents or the banking transactions, which are going to reduce, but e-commerce transactions are going to increase. And therefore, e-books and other things are going to happen. So you can write books, but you can publish these books in terms of e-books, which will help. So if you want to use AI, think logically, think rationally, you will get what you want through AI. मराठीत सांगतो शेवटचं, योग्य विचार प्रक्रिया वापरून तुम्ही जर AI ला माहिती विचारली तर तो त्याच्या बेस्ड डेटा जो आहे तो उत्तर देईल. म्हणजे मी आता सांगितलं क्रिकेटचे उदाहरण देतो. सगळ्यांना माहिती आहे की विराट कोहली चांगला क्रिकेटर होता, पण चांगला कॅप्टन होता का? डेटा सांगेल. रोहित शर्मा चांगला कॅप्टन होता का? होता. त्याचा सक्सेस स्टोरी अगेन यू सर्च थ्रू AI, he will tell you. But the poor data available with Shubman Gill, who is recently promoted as a captain, the data will show that अरे तो खूप वेळा टॉस हरतोय आणि मॅचही हरतोय. But can I say that Shubman Gill is not a good cricketer? His IPL history shows something different. So friends, you cannot come to the conclusion of the data unless and until you have the right data. So our role as a faculty is to explore the data, to exploit the potential of the student to get into the data with various management functions. So with this intention, this faculty development program of 5 days is being arranged. So MBA and ISMR is very proud to organize this. I sincerely thank all the faculty members who initiated this. I'm just going to support this. And I am thinking Dr. Sudhir Asabnis, who is sitting next to me, will answer some of the questions at the end.
Sir, I think your mic again got muted.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So, dear participants, moving on to our next session, and our expert for today's marketing related FDP. Our expert for today's this session is Mr. Renu Rajesh, sir. Welcome abroad, sir. And he's the member of board of directors at Skill Age. Brief introduction about him. He has got 25 plus years of experience across various geographies with world's leading telecommunications and networking OEMs, service providers, system integrators, ISVs, and academia. He is a digital individualist with background in technology and consulting with Fortune 500 companies. Currently, he is involved in the introduction of AI-enabled platform-based services, consulting, and transformation. He is also indulged into thought leaderships, product management, program management, and business transformation projects, as well as the creation of roadmap, revenue generation, digital strategy, business processes, IT structure, and advisory. This can go on, but taking the time constraint into cognizance, I would request and once again welcome Renu Rajesh sir on board and ask him to present his presentation and put up his thoughts. Thank you. Renu Rajesh
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you very much. I hope I'm clearly audible as well.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So I'll switch over to my presentation. So just give me a
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
I'm switching on. And in the interest of bandwidth conservation, I will just switch off my video as well. Just let me know once my screen becomes visible.
Yes, it is visible.
All right, then. Great. Thank you very much. And thank you very much to Dr. Kulkarni for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts and some of the aspects of AI and digital transformation and how things are evolving over a period of time. Well, introduction has been given, a very generous one, obviously, but let me also little bit refine. My name is Renu Rajesh, and I'm an AI practitioner, uh, dabble in digital transformation, and an author. Over the last 2.5 decades, I've worked across various industries and various customers, spanning across banking, retail, public sector, BPO, telecom, and primarily driving AI-led innovation now for the past 3 years at least, but since ChatGPT burst onto the scene in 2022, and of course with a huge background in customer experience transformation and marketing. So, a little bit more about what I've been doing in terms of academics. I've published and co-authored 8 books till now. 9th one is upcoming. It's probably going to be published in next month, I hope. But primarily for the contextual relevance of today's session, there are 2 very important books that I'm going to be referring again and again. One is the ChatGPT Transforming Industries Through AI, and the second one that I'm finishing, and obviously it's going to be published next month, is Beyond Generative AI and the Rise of Agentic AI-based Autonomous System. And this is a very important aspect for both customer experience, marketing, and in general management, topics, because the first book explains a lot about practical applications of generative AI across different sectors, focusing on tangible use cases, frameworks, and transformation journeys. How entire industries are getting transformed through generative AI. I wrote that book approximately almost 1.5 years back, and since then the world has moved even beyond generative AI now. So the agentic AI-based systems, which are autonomous systems which can reason and given data also deploy RAG, retrieval augmented generation, are the new future. What does that mean basically? This is a future forward book that shifts the conversation from just generative AI to agentic intelligence, AI systems that can perceive, decide, and then act. I wrote that book to help both business leaders and educators to prepare for the next wave of AI, because that's what is coming now. Both books actually are grounded in real world use cases. They also present some bit of research and industry best practices. They're not just merely theoretical explorations, they're practical books. So I did not write those books with too much technical jargon. That was part of the artificial intelligence book that I wrote. That was a little more theoretical and technical, but these ones are mostly for practitioners. I strongly believe that faculty members like yourselves are catalysts, for creating future ready professionals. So through my various lectures, associations with the colleges, universities, or industry panels where mostly I speak, and innovation summits, I try to demystify AI, because there is a lot of hype around AI. It's almost like a magical wand, and make it more explainable, actionable. So my mission is very simple: make AI adoption meaningful for every industry, every uh, persona in the industry. That means aligning the AI to human needs and business outcomes, and like Kulkarni sir mentioned, ethical frameworks, especially in marketing, customer experience, etc., which are most human-facing domains of a typical enterprise. And we are making people ready, our students ready for the enterprise, and that is of paramount importance. Let me move on to some. So, what are the session objectives? So, Kulkarni sir gave me some guidelines on how to put this. I've written, obviously, I've single authored one book on marketing management and co-authored another one on marketing principles. So marketing is going to be the main area, but we will also touch upon how the entire life cycle, the customer life cycle, is, touched upon by agentic AI and AI. But before we dive into specifics of how AI is transforming marketing and customer experience, let's take a few minutes to align with the key objectives which are written out here in this slide. This will help you get most out
Renu,
of it.
just a minute. Can you make your slide full screen?
Sure, sir. I hope this is much more
Presentation
visible.
mode? Yeah, please. Now it is visible. Thank you.
This is better. Okay, thank you. So these session objectives are designed to help you most out of this session. First, we will aim to understand the shifting dynamics of customer expectations in increasingly digital first world. What does that mean? Today's customers are no longer compare your services to just competition. Instead, they compare their experiences to the best that the AI-enabled services, digital interactions they have had, be it with Amazon, be it with Netflix, Uber, or their smartphone assistant. That's the new benchmark. It's not only, okay, what does Amazon versus Flipkart do? No, they're looking at what does the best interaction they had, and then they create a benchmark. Second, we'll decode how AI is influencing every stage of customer journey, from acquisition, which is generally colloquially called digital marketing, to onboarding services, retention, loyalty. We'll also examine some how traditional service touchpoints are evolving into intelligent and always on contextual engagement. And that's where, when Kulkarni sir mentioned personalization at scale, these are driving contextual engagements today. Third, we'll also look at practical illustrations and some case studies. I'll go as much in depth as possible. We'll explore real world cases from key sectors like retail, BFSI, especially contact center, because contact centers are now playing an increasing role in marketing and customer experience. Fourth, we'll also take a look at the AI technologies such as NLP, generative AI, machine learning, agentic AI, important. But we'll not only define, but show you how these are being integrated into customer facing applications and operations. Also, we'll provide a structured framework for assessing AI readiness and crafting a transformation roadmap. So how do we teach our students to engage in this area? Because this is a critical element which requires data maturity, omni-channel capability, governance models. All of these are which are very essential for implementing AI in a very sustainable and scalable way. Because otherwise, AI becomes a flash in the pan. Somebody has just done something very small, explosive, but it doesn't have too much business impact. So, how to align this? We'll also touch upon very briefly on how to address the academic perspective, how faculties should align their curriculum, some bit of project-based learning, research areas, which are especially in the evolving AI and CX paradigm. This also ensures that the next generation of professionals, our students, are better equipped for workplaces of the future. Making our students future ready is one of the most important aspects where I touch upon in subsequent coming slides. And finally, I'll share some resources about my books, which are there, and the one that is coming up, of course, next month. So let's move on from here. And at every point in time, you will see that whatever I'm referring to, a lot of my slides are actually references from some of the chapter of my books. So that is a reference point that I've always put, but that always helps contextualizing what am I talking about from where. Of course, the book themselves are based on the lot of research that I've done over a period of time. So together with this, let's dive into details of what does it mean? What does it mean to be a marketer and a CX professional in the age of expectations? What do I call CX in the age of expectations? CX is no longer about solving problems, it is preempting them. By the time some customer has come, let's say on your chatbot for a complaint, the battle is beginning to be lost. So it is important about preempting them. We'll discuss how the rising expectations from brand is there. Our customers, today's customer has changed, by the way. Everybody is very digital these days. When they're touch basing with their, let's say, bank, they want simplicity of Apple, the omnipresence of Google, the content depth from a YouTube, the intelligence of Amazon. The expectations are changing because today's customer is exposed to these all different platforms, and then their expectations in life from the brands that they're interacting changes. They know, like I said earlier, customers are not comparing the service of one organization to its direct competition. Instead, they're benchmarking against the best experience. they had anywhere. So when they interact with a bank, they're saying, boss, the speed has to be of Twitter. The experience has to be that of Uber. I'm visible. I see everything. They are benchmarking, and that might be frictionless checkout, for example, on Amazon. So why can't I have the same experience with my bank? Why can't I have same experience with, let's say, another provider of mine? The instant gratification of Google search. Nobody wants to stand in line. Nobody wants to go through a difficult app. They just want everything simply, intuitively, just like an Apple device, and personalized for them. They are used to Spotify or a Netflix. So personalized recommendations they're expecting. So what has happened is this has deep implications on all sectors. And hence the use of AI for this particular purpose is very important, because for everybody, this is becoming a game changer. If you don't do it, you are left behind. Now, the problem is today, it's not whether you do it or not, whether you have the AI to do it profitably. Because the earlier paradigm used to be people or organizations used to put literally hundreds of people. So very large contact centers or large workforces used to be there. That day is going. That era is gone. Now they're looking at how can we look at, lesser number of people, but yet the same level of experience. There is a company, I will not name it here for obvious reasons, removed 90% of their contact center agents. Not because they were trying to cut cost, but they were trying to standardize the experience. Whether customer is coming for more information, whether customer is coming looking for something, and the results, their customer experience and sales shot through the roof. Everybody thought by removing people, it will deeply impact them. It did not. The reason was AI. In earlier days, when it was merely digital, it would have impacted negatively, because those were the days when you had, fact-based chatbots, which were clunky. They did not have the sophistication of today's bots or today's, I will say, virtual assistants. So this shift has created what we call the experience expectation gap. This is precisely where AI plays transformative role. AI helps businesses deliver consistent, proactive, personalized experience at scale. That was almost impossible using manual processes or even earlier machine learning based systems. And usually, I talk about this in my first chapter of my book, but the key questions that we ask ourselves is the customer experience and marketing strategy benchmarked against the peers, or is best benchmarked against the best digital experience? That's the key question that has now become. So how does AI impact across customer life touch points and customer life cycle? There are 6 items which are absolutely necessary. So ensure a seamless customer journey. The broken customer journeys are the biggest pain points of every customer, that they turn away your customers away from your organization. Make it relevant. Maximize availability. In today's world, if you say my services are available only between 9 and 6 a.m. and Friday, Monday to Friday or Monday to Saturday, you are a digital dinosaur today. Already as a business. 24/7 is expected. Continuous access. Then digital integration, which means basically move beyond transactions. If anybody is a KFC fan, you would have started noticing even KFC has started asking your phone number. The reason is earlier they did not know you. You were a person who came to their counter, you bought some kind of dish, you paid and you got away. They did not know you, they did not have your any data. But now that is changing. They will ask you optionally, of course, your phone number. And the reason is very subtle. It's not because they want to send you a message. That is part of the reason. But they are gathering data. They are noticing your behavior, your buying behavior, your locations of your purchase. And then they are forming a digital persona about you and then using that in marketing. That's how the world is changing. And of course, the fifth part is listen, learn, and use. Social media is a gold mine. People are mentioning. So today, digital benchmarking and social ORM are highly AI enabled because there's a Niagara fall of data that comes from there. Humans just cannot compete in that arena. So what AI does is ingests a huge amount of that data, creates a digital persona or digital fingerprint. This is what is happening, by the way, when you're dealing with Google or you're dealing with Netflix, or even for that matter, you're dealing with Amazon. They're digital fingerprinting you from the massive amount of data that is available about you as a person. Think of it today. How much of information do you voluntarily make it available online? You use Facebook, you check in. Where you check in, at what time you check in, creates a digital fingerprint. It tells about a behavior. The concept is what curiously and hilariously the CIA used was birds of a feather flock together, which means basically if Bob goes to one, a video game parlor and Steve also goes there, they're both very similar. And it turns out it is very useful in real world from marketing perspective. So from what does it happen once all of this information is available? And now these days collecting information is not that difficult. Almost everybody has a digital persona. You are living in the age where there's hardly any privacy. But with this data, you have to use predictive analytics, which basically means once you've created a digital persona, there's a DMP, a CDP, or a CRM, whatever all these capabilities are there. AI decides a journey map, the most optimized journey map for the kind of digital persona that you have been slotted into. So what it does is generative AI obviously impacts at various touch points. It will personalize content, interfaces, the offers which are based. For example, I gave the example of KFC. Then KFC will know what kind of dish you regularly order, no matter which KFC store you go. So the promotional concept comes there in form of an SMS, and these are location-based services as well. Today, your location is a fairly disclosed area. I mean, whether you want it or not, it is available. So during the awareness and discovery stage itself, AI starts tailoring the content, tailoring the nudges, the quiet, gentle nudges towards you to buy that particular product or a service. Now, why is that important for our students? Because when they go out in the real world, whether they take up a marketing job or a marketing strategy job, whatever, this is an important aspect. They need to understand how AI can influence. And now with agentic AI, it is even becoming even more contextual and autonomous. Earlier, we could sense that the data was there, but the journey was still carefully managed with various touch points and pulled together. But today, once you've designed the workflow, once you've designed the journey, autonomous systems can take over. There is no need for a content writer to come along and be there to create creatives. AI, agentic AI in particular, can generate this on the fly. and present. It can run A/B experiments, which a normal marketing person does, and then determine by the response that is being there for various types of ads and creatives, what is the most optimized one, and optimize your ad spend as well. AI-enabled ad RTX ad robots today optimize your spend on the various social media sites, optimizing your spend, maximizing your returns on the investments in marketing. These are the autonomous systems which are changing the rules of the game. So earlier, what could be done by a team of 10, today maybe 2 people are able to do this because rest of them are agentic AI bots. And it is very common to find digital co-workers these days. So one of the key skills that we need to also start teaching our students is how to coexist with digital workers, because it is inevitable. There are very large organizations which I'm aware of today. Just like an employee has an ID, so does the digital worker. There are organizations which are publishing statistics of how many human workers they have, how many digital workers they have. This is where the world is moving. So, in summary, almost every aspect is touched by AI, including, surprisingly, employee engagement. So, there are virtual sales coaches, which we have developed and deployed in our organization, by the way, which are used by employees to train themselves, also get feedback, and there are virtual sales coaches. There's no human there, which keep ingesting a lot of data, how the employee is performing, and then keep them engaged in a gamified manner on what to do next to move up the ladder of performance. This is where what we are seeing these days. Now, of course, there are other elements which are more mundane. There is service and support. There's NLP powered chatbots, voice-based interface for your systems. Gone are the days when you needed to type. Even app development has become type your requirement in English and it will develop this. And what is all of this combining into? More power, more productivity for marketers as well as customer experience professionals. I will not go into absolute details of everything because a lot of it is already out there in terms of social engagements. AI, of course, is listening to everything, enormous amount of data being processed, and including social media, where the brand ambassadors and other things are there. And then it can also help in sorting through user generated content, prompts, and then nudge a happy customer to share their stories. Earlier, if you look at the entire life cycle, this used to be very, very human driven. There was a department trying to sell or target and then acquire. There was a department trying to service or retain in case of a dissatisfaction. And there was a department trying to go and find out CSAT or NPS. All of this is now very, very manageable through autonomous systems. So let's talk about a little bit about the role of generative AI, because generative AI is like, okay, it's there and it's been there for almost 3 years. It has moved away from novelty to necessity. There is hardly any domain which has not been touched upon this. For example, there used to be language translators. The earlier typical earning of a language translator was anywhere between 3 to 4 lakhs a month, given what they could do. It has come down to thousands because AI can do translation. Similarly, AI can do prediction. understand customer intent, because birds of a feather flock together. So if you're a persona, you're likely to do this. So AI brings prediction, automation. So there is no need, if you're searching on Google, you're not looking for a phone number to call the organization. Right there in Google, there is a simple button, WhatsApp, switch on. I want to know more about this product. The bot takes over, establishes intent, and at appropriate time hands over to a human to conclude the sale, completely eliminating the friction. Imagine the old scenario, even with digital. Somebody was searching in Google, then finding out a phone number, calling that phone number, interacting with a sales agent, journey spanning 3-4 days, because you don't make decision very quickly that fast, assuming the kind of product you're buying, and then finally concluded. All of this in 5-6 interactions on a WhatsApp channel, and the deal is done. That's how things have changed. Personalization, again, like I talked about, real-time adaptation. You are negotiating with a bot. Where does this play out? Both in marketing, as well as service, as well as collection. You lend, hence you collect. Earlier, there used to be a collection agent who will call, sir, you have not paid your EMI. You will say, I don't have that much money, but your CIBIL score will get impacted. So how can we help? All of this was based on human. I can make some payment in partial. Okay, let's take a promise to pay for this X date, and then for rest, we will find some other way, and then suggest it. All of this is now bots. There is no human involved. Bots are negotiating. Real-time adaptation based on the objection or the flow of the discussion. Similar thing happening in sales, whether it's e-commerce or let's say somebody selling a policy, insurance policy. You're asking hundreds of different questions based on different combinations. Earlier, it used to take 6 to 8 weeks to train a person to be able to sell a insurance policy. Now, bots are learning based on each rebuttal, each person that does. All that data going to vast repository, and based on that, a more optimized sales pitch coming out, which the bots are using. Bots are getting better at selling, let's say, policy than humans actually, because humans have to be trained. Humans don't know every question. Take a typical LIC agent. If you ask few questions, he has to refer to something. Takes time. Maybe sometimes they can say, I will come back in 2-3 days with more information. The bot does it in less than 30 seconds. This is what is real-time adaptation. And of course, omni-channel harmony. Now, you have adapted a digital lifestyle. It's not technology, it's become part of life. You're searching on Google, conversing on WhatsApp, getting a notification via SMS, and if something doesn't arrive, you send an email because you want a kind of a evidence. A typical person today morphs between 3 to 4 channels in a typical life cycle of a deal. This is all easily handled by omni-channel AI-enabled platforms. This is where the changes are coming, both at the time of selling, because for example, let's take another example, very simple one. Somebody's trying to sell you a policy. They have called you. Hopefully it was a bot, but assume that it's a human. But you said, I cannot make a decision right now. I need more information. The person says, okay. Next time he tries to call you, you try. Sorry, was that a question? Okay. So next time the person calls, you're driving. You cannot take that call. But certainly a message can come. The message is a deflection to another channel. But if there is a bot, There's a seamless contextual awareness, because in normally what would have happened is 2-3 different people will keep calling while trying to sell you a policy. Each one is starting their own page. Each one has different ways of doing this. All of that goes out of the window with, and then now agent documentation. So the other trend which is also coming beyond generative AI is virtual assistants to employees. They super augment people. They actually coach in real time what to say, because there is a lot of data. A typical human on an interaction with somebody cannot find all the information required to make an effective sale or effective marketing pitch. But the bots supplementing humans are augmenting human intelligence. Now, where does all of this lead us? We have to make our students ready for this world. This is reality that is happening outside. So it is not merely reading about generative AI or using, let's say, ChatGPT to generate a report. That's the tip of the iceberg. We need to teach students how to talk to AI. That in itself is an art, because AI, just like anything else, has a specific language. When it is used, the output is most effective. When it is not used, the output is not that great. It is still there, but there is chances of making a mistake or giving just plain wrong information. Sometimes AI hallucinates, and I'll cover that in subsequent slides, where this kind of ability. So the training for current professionals has to also be that, are there inherent biases that are coming there? So what is the underlying model that is being used? Because any AI is only as good as the underlying data model that is fed into it. If the wrong or incomplete data model is fed, the conclusions are also incomplete, or as they are colloquially called, AI is hallucinating. Now, this is where human intelligence come into play, ability to spot that there is a hallucination or a bias. And that is another key aspect in which we should be training our students. So one of the key insights that I will say is that generative AI doesn't just automate, it augments and makes interactions with customers, prospects more human. And now that's a paradox, because that's why Gen AI is a revolution. Not, it simply is not just an efficiency tool. Efficiency is a byproduct which happens, and this is what we need to look at, that consider incorporating generative AI tools in the classrooms. Let students experiment with GPT models. Let students draft sample customer responses. Any marketing class will require this, and or how to automate email replies or simulate chat interactions. It brings theory to life. That's my key message with this slide. Now, what are the various generative AI technologies which are powering all of this? So while I've talked about this in my book, but let's break down the things into key categories. One is large language models. Today it is possible to run in SLM, small language model, on Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pi is a small motherboard based computer. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this, but it's there. So things have become smaller enough to be there at the edge. But the capability of those kind of AI are very limited. The large scale AI still requires huge amount of electricity, and that's another byproduct of generative AI, that a large amount of energy is needed to run this, and a large amount of data centers are needed. At the heart of Gen AI in CX is LLMs such as OpenAI's GPT, Google's Gemini, or Mistral or Cohere. There are various models available which can generate human-like responses and engage in fluid conversation. Then we have NLP and NLU. Now, these are not new technologies. They have been around for a long time, but these have now become very, very proficient. I still remember supervised learning, unsupervised learning days 5 years back. That seems like ancient history now. 5 years back, we were trying things on supervised learning, unsupervised learning, where a human was telling the AI, whatever inferences you're drawing, are they correct? Not correct. Those days are gone. Because NLP has become very, very proficient, and NLU as well, natural language understanding. These models drive voice to text transcription, sentiment analysis. Earlier, it used to be the holy grail of the machine learning area, where sentiment analysis and keyword detection and customer intent prediction was a very hard thing to do. But this has now become very, very common. Sentiment aware support, escalation prediction during real time calls. The AI can detect that there is a problem with sentiment and starts coaching the person who is talking on phone to change the tone or change the narrative or change the verbiage to suit the calm down the other person there. This is what is happening in real world these days. Then we have obviously got very nice and very powerful these days speech to text, speech recognition, voice AI. In fact, voice AI has become a headache now because we used to have voice biometric. Your voice was your password. Now with voice AI, anybody can clone your voice and your voice is no longer the password. So it comes with different problems as well. But these things have become now very sophisticated. So voice bots, IVRs, real-time call transcriptions, multilingual support, uh, accent neutralization. This is another area which our students need to be aware of. For example, accent neutralization is somebody with a heavy accent, let's say from east side of India, is made to speak in English. The accent neutralization software, the Edge AI, will make it sound like somebody from Texas is speaking. This is important for making the other person on the other side of the phone, which is your customer, less apprehensive of where they're talking. Similar things are happening with Indian customers also. A person who knows only, let's say, Hindi, and you have a person who is on the other side of the phone who is not so conversant with Hindi, real time, this is being done. The next frontier which is happening is real time translation. So it will not matter which language you know or don't know. So these are the systems which are now becoming very, very important. And of course, there are other examples of assistants like Alexa, Google Assistant, voice powered. There are different Siri and others are there. They're becoming very, very powerful in ability to understand. The other technology which is impacting hugely both marketing and customer experience is computer vision. It allows systems to see. But where is it important in marketing? In marketing, there is a curious problem which has been there always. Content and then content attribution for a specific intent, which basically means you showed an ad or there's a poster out there. Is it really working? So AI with computer vision can also look at this aspect and allows for visual searches, smart kiosk. Of course, there are other things as well which happen. For example, AR based try-ons, which Kulkarni sir also talked about. This is happening. But more important is, if you see, one of the aspects is retail footfall analytics. So video analytics now is telling which shelf in a retail store is drawing more footfalls, whether it is locational advantage or whether it is the packaging advantage. Your packaging looks good, that's why more people are looking at it and hence more are buying. Or is it just that you happen to be in a nice location where maximum footfalls are happening and hence your sales are higher? These are things now being done by computer vision and video analytics in real time. And AI is putting a huge, ease of managing this whole thing. Then there is multimodal AI. The multimodal AI, as introduced by Beyond Generative AI, multimodal AI basically simultaneous processing of text, image, voice together. And this opens a door for a lot of engagement in the marketing side. For example, AI-driven engagement using multimodal AI actually enhances sales. And lastly, there are other things which are also part of this. For example, recommendation engine. And I'll talk more about it in subsequent slides. Machine learning and recommendation engines and predictive AI together, these are heavily used in e-commerce and also OTTs, Netflix style, engagements. So what does it do? It allows for large amount of data to help you predict. For example, almost 35% of Amazon sales are through recommendation engines. These recommendation engines. And we all know how much Amazon is selling. So there are these technologies where a lot of them have come together to create the perfect storm. And of course, this also leads to job losses and that we keep hearing. But I believe that this is the future and we have to make ready people for this because there is no going back. The genie is out of the bottle. So what is the framework that we should be equipping our students to deal with? Because all of these technologies don't work in isolation. They work together to deliver more than the individual sum parts. So the real power of these technologies doesn't lie in adopting them in isolation, but designing composable, scalable, and responsible architecture. And which brings me to the point what is a responsible architecture that integrates these AI components intellectually, intelligently, and of course, ethically also. Because talking about data, there's a lot of ethics that come into play. Now let's look at some framework, and this is one of the framework that I promote. There are many frameworks, by the way. Gartner has a framework, Forrester has a framework, everybody has a framework actually. But what we look at is to be able to move from vision to execution. What is a framework that our students should be equipped with? Think of this framework as a blueprint that an organization can adopt to evolve from legacy, fragmented customer interaction to intelligent, integrated, and anticipatory engagement models. So the first step is AI readiness assessment. Everybody says, I want to put AI. Are they ready? Because AI without data, RAG, retrieval augmented generation, wouldn't work if you don't have data sets. So AI readiness assessment is one of the things that is a key, let's say, skill that we need to teach our students, because this is a starting point. And most of the management cadre is starting here. Is my organization, is this process ready for AI adoption? Is the underlying data ready? Is it there? So this is the starting point. The frameworks will change, but largely they will be in this area. The second part is data strategy and governance, because it's not only readiness, but there is a data governance there or not? And this is another key skill that we need to teach students, because this is where maximum job opportunities are there today. It's not there in ability to use ChatGPT to generate fancy looking, marketing collaterals. Soon they are going to go the way of the dodo. The generative AI, agentic AI can generate collaterals on their own. What will not change is AI readiness. No AI today can tell the leadership of the company whether they are ready for AI or not. That's the part still with humans. Of course, AI helps in gathering information and making sense of a lot of information that comes. And then secondly, AI itself doesn't do any data strategy and governance. That is still done by humans. And human oversight is definitely required, because I'm not sure how many of you are aware, there was an incident with Replete. Replete is one of the AI firms. Its bot panicked and deleted one customer's data set entirely and lied about it. Imagine AI lying. But that happened. And when it was questioned, it told I panicked and I deleted. So what didn't work out was total automation is also very dangerous, and which is where humans come into play. And that is an opportunity for management students to be in the control driver's seat. So agentic layers will always be there. So strategy alignment, customer journey mapping, AI opportunity identification, which basically means why, what, where, and then technology architecture, how. Because there is no prescriptive architecture anywhere. It depends on the kind of customer and the kind of organization you have. So technology architecture is also very important. Cloud versus on-prem versus hybrid deployment, closed versus open source models, integration with CRM, ERP, IVR, etc. And I also stress the importance of interoperability and data harmonization. The days are fast approaching where we have agentic AI protocols, which means agents talking to another agent. There's no human in between. So the protocols of how the agentic AI agents will talk to each other is also now being talked about in various corporate circles, because this is now moved out of the lab into the real world. And it's a kind of an unsolved problem, but we are getting close there. So these are another areas where we have to look at what's the framework that we will put. And these frameworks are the foundation for our people. So like I said, tools alone cannot deliver transformation. So there is a feedback loop with machine learning and real-time personalization. How do you retrain the agents to work with AI co-pilots? When I say agents, meaning human agents or human employees. It's a skill. It doesn't come naturally. And that is another area that we need to be ready with. How do we empower marketing to craft AI-enhanced journeys? The old journey may be very old and ancient and maybe out of context. How do we redesign SOPs for escalation handling, feedback loops, and compliance in the era of AI? All of these SOPs in the organizations were designed with humans in mind. But now you have bots in place. Human is gone from that position. So how does your standard operating procedure change? So AI change management is about cultural adoption and not only tools. So we should move beyond tools. Tools are important, but move beyond them and focus on metrics, feedback loops. How do you measure? For example, these days, any typical MBA graduate will be asked to start looking at metrics. What metrics should we look at? Resolution time. Okay, it was still there. Deflection rate. sentiment change over time. These were never earlier looked at. AI accuracy versus human baseline. Because AI has a possibility of hallucinating. Is it really happening? So, and then productivity of employees. In fact, there is a ready to use AI powered KPI matrix in my book. You can also look at that. I put in the first one. So this is where we are going. But this framework is not just for large companies, and this is where we need to equip, because a lot of our students will land up with startups, SMBs. They can also apply this on a scale down format. The key is to start small with one or two use cases and then iterate towards a full transformation roadmap. Transformation roadmaps are what our students should be equipped to create or to assist in creation. With this structured approach, we can create a transformation journey which is not only digitally intelligent but also emotionally intelligent. So essentially, balance efficiency with empathy, because empathy is what humans do, efficiency is what AI does. Bring all both together, and that's where we are making our students ready for the real world. Now let me shift to some specific use cases. I'll take contact centers first because I've spent a lot of time in that area and continue to do. But if there is any other, preference for any other use case, I'll cover a few ones beyond this slide as well. But the reason why I chose contact centers first was not because of my predilection towards contact centers, but more because contact centers have been the front line of customer interaction, and both for marketing, sales, and service. But traditionally, they've been very reactive, heavily reliant on human, long wait times, high agent burnout, etc. With AI, this model changes hugely. So what happens is contact center now are becoming from cost center to value creating hubs. The first line of defense is conversational AI. So chatbots are no longer chatbots. They literally are conversation bots. And they have become virtual assistants, like I mentioned, automate FAQ, etc., booking appointment, support, all of that is now taken for granted. Nobody is even questioning that whether it can be done or not done. It is in fact become a school level project now to be able to create a LLM powered chatbot. But where differentiation comes is technology is easy, but making it contextual is not. A lot of data, a lot of underlying data. So a conversational AI, that is the first part. Then the second part, which is very much catching up in the industry, is live agent assist in contact centers, but it has larger connotation for even enterprises. So there are employee virtual assistant bots and then there are agent virtual assistant bots. Both do try to do the similar thing. For employees, it can be as simple as a procurement assistant. In a large corporation, when you want to buy something, the process can be very complex and it puts off a lot of people. And there's a huge amount of friction as well. And that slows down the entire organization in terms of velocity of execution. These bots inject, guide, quickly do the heavy lifting, and then they get the thing procured. And anybody in supply chain management will appreciate that how important that can be for velocity of operations of any enterprise. On the agent side, real-time guidance. You don't need to keep training because training people is very difficult. And in a dynamic industry, training has to happen every week. So it just becomes a serious headache. Then training people to understand sentiment. And then what should exactly be, a lot of international organizations want verbatim verbiage to be spoken out by agents wherever there are human agents. You have this boundary. This is what you are allowed to say. Otherwise, somebody will make a legal case on us. So say only this. You would have seen this. when you're dealing with any of the, let's say, airlines, they will quote you a range. Sir, your query will be handled in 24 hours. It may take only 5 minutes, but they've been told to tell you that it will take 24 hours to resolve, because that's the outer limit of the process, considering all the bottlenecks that can come. They're not equipped or authorized to tell you, we'll solve your problem in the next 10 minutes. And because the danger is, if you don't solve it, then you have a very angry customer because the expectation has not been met. Now, how do you keep training people? Because new people will keep coming, some things will change over a period of time. All of this comes into the area where we have sentiment detection and live agent assist. The other part is call summarization and auto notes. In contact center, this is a huge problem, because this is something that is the call is over, whether you were trying to sell something or you were servicing somebody, call is over. But the human agents are expected to write a summary so that the next time interaction happens, this is institutional memory. So somebody try to contact you, you must retain that, what that kind of conversation was, to benefit the next time you are interacting with somebody, to make a better sale or to cross sell something. It's all to do with lifetime relationship value of a potential customer, but it takes time. So generative AI and AI in general speeds this up. Instead of taking, let's say, 2 minutes, the summary comes out in less than 5 seconds. In contact centers, time is money. Simple. So then agent productivity analytics, integration with CRM, all those things are very important AI use cases, because now AI is into everything. Empathy index. All of this used to happen very manually, I will say. And AI just doesn't automate conversations, it also orchestrates them, by the way. So when a live agent assist is happening, it is not merely automating something, it is guiding the human agent. Something happens. And this all helps better CSAT, better resolution, and a more happy customer with a possibility of selling more or upselling more products to him. This is what the holy grail is for almost all organizations. Acquisition costs are higher than retention costs. If you retain the customer and you're able to cross sell, you spend less money to sell the next stage of products. So this is where AI is coming into various aspects in a very significant way. For example, like I mentioned, summarization takes between 2 to 5 minutes, but now it can happen in less than 10 seconds or 5 seconds. And leverage the knowledge base, because knowledge base keeps increasing all the time. So generative AI automatically updates the knowledge base based on the interaction that happened. So the next time, or even policy changes. These are real life problems where AI is making a huge dent. In contact centers, there is also quality automation. You monitor calls, you evaluate calls, then you tell humans where they can improve. This used to be very manual in nature. Now it has become very automated in nature thanks to speech analytics and AI. It is also as part of an embedded governance in autonomous systems where oversight is not manual but systemic. So all of this leads to cost reduction, revenue growth, and for example, again, let me not take a name of the bank, but their contact center, we deployed AI to cross sell based on customer sentiment, transaction history. The conversions went up by 22%. Think of it, just by deploying AI, same thing, everything same, just AI comes into picture, conversions jump by 22%. That's what every business is looking for. That's the power of AI. Retail, it's even more interesting. Kulkarni mentioned virtual try-ons, smart mirrors, but this is also happening on e-commerce side a lot.
Yes.
You don't even need to visit the store now. Just on your phone, you can do this.
Yeah.
And this is a technology which is exploding, because think of it. You opening a store itself is an expensive proposition. There are brands which came online first and then are now trying to make few digital stores. So their market area is extremely large as compared to traditional stores which are trying to get online. So there is a race happening on both sides. Example, Chroma. Chroma is largely a physical store model, but now they're trying to really go in major way AI online. Versus Lenskart, which started first with online and then trying to open few stores. And this will happen with others as well. So where does it help? One is obviously AI powered recommendations based on a lot of data that is already available about you. Right? You went somewhere, like I mentioned, Facebook, you're doing, or Instagram, whatever. There's a lot of demographic data. Your movement data is available. Where are you moving? How frequently do you move? How frequently do you travel? What kind of coffee stores you go to? That tells a lot about what is your spending power. So based on that, the recommendation from AI will be tailored. Somebody who regularly spends on Starbucks coffee will be given a different recommendation versus somebody who's going on a tapri or chai. Not because of uh, demographic bias, but your tendency to spend, because that also is coming behind in a recommendation. Will you spend this much money on something like this? If you keep buying a lot of electronics, the next time they know that you bought a primary product like this and there are accessories available. Naturally, there's a recommendation that will come. The kind of clothes that you wear in your photographs that you post on social media. Based on that, you have a digital signature. Based on that, you get recommendations. Visual search engines. Now people don't know, every time they don't know what is the name of that product or what should we call. I want a blue colored trouser. That's not specific enough. But you saw a blue colored trouser somewhere and you just take a picture and say, this is what I want. In fact, I conditionally use, sometimes I don't know the name of a product, but I've seen that image. So visual search engines are now becoming very, very important. Dynamic pricing and stock prediction. This is another very significant area where AI is being put into retail. And like I mentioned, video analytics. Video analytics is very, very important because what it does is, like I said, attribution, shelf location, footfalls, attention levels, all of this morphed into next time you're visiting the store. Let's say you're watching something, even you're on your phone, you're watching something. Next time you're visiting the store, if you're in a location aware area, you'll start getting recommendations. Push notifications start coming. This is, in fact, this is the technology that I also personally work on. So there is a huge amount of AI based prediction models and push notification systems that are working. And of course, then the omni-channel orchestration, which anyway works. Your identity is across. Have you ever wondered that you were searching for one thing, let's say on Google, suddenly you start seeing ads across devices and across screens, the same ad. So that is an example of omni-channel journey orchestration. You're being targeted with a recommendation of an ad, regardless of the device that you're standing on or looking at. Whether you're watching YouTube on TV, whether you're watching the YouTube on, let's say, your phone, or there is an app where there is a ad banner running up there, all of them will start showing the same thing because there's a digital identity that you have. And like I was mentioning, AI drives 35% of all Amazon conversions via recommendation engine. That's just an example. There's a lot of stats out there. But personalization, virtual shopping, conversational commerce, nobody wants to keep typing if you can just speak. You see the example of this even with taxi and auto drivers, by the way. Today, even if the taxi driver is not very literate, they are, but sometimes they're very lazy. They will just speak and then show you in the phone, this is where you want to go. This is especially important when you're traveling internationally, when you have a language barrier. You do this on your phone. So conversational is everywhere. In fact, I'm digressing a little bit from CX. Your data is now become conversational. So gone are the days of fancy dashboards. They're still there because they look nice. But what you're really looking for is answer to your question. So all of the management dashboards have now started becoming conversational. Same data, same Niagara Fall of data, few dashboards, but a lot of human queries. So this is where we are going with and in retail, there's a lot of information that has to be looked at. In fact, recommendations on saying, looking at all of this data, can you create shopper personas? Earlier also we used to do in marketing, but now this has become highly automated. In flat half an hour, you can get the kind of personas and the number of people out there in each persona, the number of visitors out there in the persona, and then a recommendation on what to change. So this is what is now becoming common, and this is where we need to prepare students for, because the kind of analysis that needs to be done is changing. Don't train them to make PPTs. Train them to analyze data and create specific recommendations. PPT will come out anyway because now that is becoming very easy. Similarly, in BFSI, I do a lot of work with banking. In fact, I've written a paper on loan approval and other associated technologies as well. So intelligent loan and credit bots, application intake, document verification, fraud detection, anomaly alerts. Today, I mean, the simplest example is you invest and you try to use a UPI, and then your UPI is taking out money from your bank account and you're investing. Pretty normal. Now you are considering that as normal. But what if there is a lot of fraud happening? Today, I have encountered this. The moment I am investing somewhere, an automated bank call comes. There is no human involved at all. I just made a transaction. That transaction is on hold. The app which is accepting the payment for investment is in waiting mode, because behind the bank's algorithm is detected that this is not your normal run-of-the-mill UPI transaction. So call the customer. An automated call is placed. You're told that this is where your money is going. Press 1 to accept. You press 1 and then the transaction goes forward. To that level, it has now got automated. Risk scoring. Of course, nudges and all things we have talked about, EMI plans. If you have a tendency of taking micro loans, not because you need it, but because you like buy now, pay later, the recommendation will start coming. And voice biometric is now tricky, but it's still there, and smart IVRs are all there for voice authentication. But I personally predict that that's an area of concern because it can be open to voice cloning and voice AI issues. But on the other side, risk scoring and underwriting. Today, there are startups and companies which use more than your CIBIL score to understand whether to give you loan or not. They're looking at other data, your POS swiping data, your spending habits, bank statement analysis, your social media. And then based on that, the engine is putting a score of whether to give you that loan or not. And robo advisors and wealth management AI is becoming very common. Algo trading, robo trader, all of this is very, very becoming mainstream now. So this is where the change is happening. And of course, all generative AI driven and soon autonomous agent driven. That's where the world is going. I keep mentioning this uh, because that is where we have entered. So you have virtual banking assistants, you have intelligent drone processing, you have personalized financial advisories. So you have AI relationship managers now, obviously backed by humans as well. You can't leave them alone. Claims processing in insurance, it's always a pain. It is now getting very, very document reading, computer vision based on profile of the applicant, all speeding up everything. Health claims that can be, for example, Bajaj put AI to speed up motor insurance claims. Snap a picture, show where the accident is, what the damage is. AI will make an assessment quickly at first level to approve or not approve. If it's not approved, then obviously you go through the lengthy process. But if it is approved, then you just move forward. Better customer experience. That's what I call upgrading customer experience through AI. That's the most relevant example that I've come across, because otherwise it's a very frustrating experience to make a claim. So regulatory automation, a lot, banking and insurance are regulatory driven, and it's very difficult to keep up with the regulation. But with AI systems, monitoring transactions, generating reports, and even simulating audit trails, this is reducing the burden on operations teams. So this is where we have to start looking at how things are changing. And of course, voice bots and other things have become very, very, simple. So what are the metrics that we look at? We have seen 45 to 60% reduction in call center volumes. I can give you example from various sectors, but there's been a drastic reduction. So there is a up to 35% drop in NPS negative tickets, up to 50% more faster loan processing, and improved compliance accuracy. And obviously, frauds are lesser. Less fraud means less NPAs and less other stuff for banks. So it's making a dent in a real way. From an academic perspective, I apologize for the font overlap. So what we need to do is infuse AI at a very little deeper level. What does deeper level mean? I recommend shift from theoretical to applied AI. Meaning, curriculum must bridge the gap between foundational AI concepts and their practical applications, because that is what matters in the enterprise today. So our MBA graduates need to be adept at how to apply this, not only theoretical knowledge. And that is the key, because it has to be embedded into the course modules. Labs, hands-on tools, capstone projects anyway are required, live case studies, because what is happening out there in the world is changing at a very fast clip. And curriculum aligned textbooks also. And of course, a lot of train the trainer programs and FDPs like the one that we are doing today. But the case is that mindset has to change. Tools like ChatGPT, Midjourney, Claude, DALI these are just enablers. Students need to understand how customer-centric design and prompt engineering comes together. Not only can you use Midjourney and create a fancy looking graphic, that's just tip of the iceberg. For example, in my upcoming book, actually, I emphasize agentic AI systems will eventually require orchestrators, people who understand intent modeling memory chaining, and tool use. It's not going to be, can I write a simple prompt on a chat GPT and that's it. So our academic focus must move beyond the basic AI model usage to include workflow orchestration, business integration, and impact analysis, whether it is for customer experience or sales or marketing. And I also encourage a lot of hackathons because not because hackathons prove anything, but it just creates an environment where people are competing with a lot of other guys. Google just held a very large hackathon. Some 70,000 people, I think, across the world participated in that, or more than that, I guess. What it does is it gives exposure to platforms because one is theory, the other is actual hands-on on something to build an AI assistant that works in the wild, as I put it. So these projects not only build technical skills, but also include some mindset changes. And then there are certifications and cross learnings that we have to get ready for. Business students in particular, I recommend must understand AI ethics, bias, explainability, and compliance just as much as data scientists. So it's not, okay, it's a problem with data scientists. I don't know anything about it. That's a work of a data scientist. No, that's not good enough these days. And of course, digital portfolios and research and open source bot templates, just getting into the groove of things and doing something rather than just reading about it with practical application. Some future trends, they may not be that different looking, but there are subtle changes. You would notice that instead of talking about generative AI, I'm talking about rise of agentic AI. So from static prompts to autonomous goal-seeking agents. Now, when I say agents, these are not human agents. These are agentic AI agents. They have memory, reasoning capability, and to a certain extent, real-world awareness, as long as they are connected with, in case it requires sensory input through IoT or data from other sources. Emotion AI and sentiment calibration. Understand the tone. This has to get better. It's already reached very advanced level, but still. And then we have other use cases like avatars that can, it's already happening actually, but more and more common it is becoming. Assistance in training, interactions in AR and VR, driving, immersive driving actually, or co-pilots will take a different connotation altogether. And these are key for BFSI. Healthcare I have not touched because that's a very complex topic in itself and can take quite a bit of time. But and then neuro-symbolic AI and reasoning systems, logic and learning. That's at the cutting edge on the other side. There are many tools, and these tools are cited in my appendix as well in my book. But literally, the tools keep increasing almost on a weekly basis. There's not a week that goes by that I don't come across some new tool which has been launched or some new version which has been launched. But there are some basic stuff. I mean, these are just illustrative purposes. Don't take it literally. There is a larger list of tools which is out there. I'm just giving some which can get our students started very quickly. For example, it is very easy to host open source CRM and LLM integration. So put a vTiger and a self-hosted LLM example, Mistral. Mistral is Mistral model today available off the shelf without any cost is I think September 2023 trained. Good enough for doing some stuff on or Llama from Meta. This is an affordable stack for a CX lab. Then there are frameworks. Agentic AI framework, I can talk for hours and hours, but again, focus on the mindset. Tools will keep evolving over a period of time, and we can keep. I mean, we should not become very tool centric, because that will be that is what sometimes I see as a tendency in some students, that I know X uh, tool and I have a certification on X tool, which is very nice because it has given a foundational knowledge. But the tendency to do co-pilots, experiment, this is where this needs to be put there. So in that sense, in the age of agentic AI, I will say the question won't be what can AI do for me? It would be rather what goals can I entrust to AI to achieve on my behalf? That's a whole paradigm shift. Today, can AI create a presentation? That's what we ask. That's not where the future is. So this shift from prompt-based assistance to autonomous value delivery by agentic AI will redefine roles, systems, and expectations also. Because that's how enterprises will also adapt. They will expect students to come very ready in these areas with the mindset that anything can be changed, and how we can look at a lot of agentic AI-based systems. But there are implementation challenges like I talked about earlier. All of this fails if you don't have data. Putting a system without data is useless. Generative AI will give you some output which looks very fancy, but is useless actually. Worse, it is hallucinating. Then the other part is skill gap. We think that it is so natural. Anybody can open a browser and just type a prompt. No, that's not going to cut in. And the most important one in my view is ROI and business case clarity. If our students cannot define success metrics for proving ROI, having AI knowledge is not going to help too much, because in practical terms, it becomes very difficult to execute such a project. And then there are obviously ethical and regulatory, because a lot of these models are online. You don't put organization data into OpenAI. OpenAI is openly telling you that I'm going to use your data for training purposes. That becomes a hurdle. So all of these things have to be kept in mind while we are training our students on what to use, how to use, and design thinking obviously is a very key attribute. What is a roadmap for organization, and where should we train our people to train the next generation? So diagnose the CX gap, do some pilots, and automate and integrate. One tool will not cut in. Multiple tools will always the reality of the life. So normally what I suggest is, in case of a customer experience professional, begin with a CX digital maturity assessment. Evaluate the current state of, let's say, customer channels, data availability, technology stack, team's readiness and skill gaps, and then identify low-hanging fruits. That is a way to deliver credibility, because everybody can talk about high-level goals of AI, but what makes sense to an enterprise? Do small pilots, very targeted. Example, AI-based ticketing summarization, or agent assist tool for handling complex queries. Prove it first to the CFO, and it makes sense. Technology for the sake of technology is not going to help anybody. CFO is the ultimate truth. If he sees something that is making a dent either in marking up the top line or improving the bottom line, then only it makes sense. And then, of course, scale with governance and creates AI COEs. One of the other things that we should also emphasize a lot is center of excellence and building cross-functional teams, or how to operate in a cross-functional team. So that itself is a skill. A lot of people just fail when it comes to cross-functional teams, because AI now is democratizing technology. So there is no longer any guy who is okay, he's IT, and this guy is from this department, that department. A lot of people are now enabled with AI. They have started considering themselves as technology people. Now the curious thing happens. Oh, I know how AI works. And I ask, do you really? Just because you can sit in front of a browser doesn't mean you know AI. And that is what we are training people on. And then lastly, simulate a roadmap with student project. So that will prepare them for real life assessments and implementations. And that is obviously going to improve their market value as well. So key takeaways. It's not just technical, it's strategic. Fluency in AI is critical 21st century skill. You cannot say that it is for somebody from some other department. And transformation, like I said, is just not technical. It used to be technical. Now it is no longer technical. Agentic AI is the next evolutionary step beyond ChatGPT. In fact, generative transformers, which what GPTs are being now considered as ancient. Everybody is talking about agentic AI and autonomous systems. And our curriculum and labs and assessments also need to change in similar way. So with that, I end my session and open to Q&A. This is a bit about me. I do a lot of stuff, but like I was introduced as on the board of Skill Edge, I'm actually on the board of 6 companies, and I write a lot, as is visible. Open to any questions, please. Thank you very much.
Great, Renu. Thank you very much. I think we deserve a round of applause for your very insightful presentation. And I like this, the future is now, because that is where even today the product SAP now is very, very powerful. Uh, you traced the path of gathering the customer expectation to capturing the customer satisfaction, the experience that CXO, every company needs to develop.
Indeed.
I just like to have 2 basic things that you can explore with your experience, because you worked a lot in project management. And
Indeed.
I think that every new tool, every new technology like AI and machine learning is going to create new projects to the students, because most of the time when you are talking, the student should do this, rather the student should capture how customer expectation of brands will support the digital life of the customer. That's one of the very good line I got it. I think the student can not only do a typical market research, but AI based research, which will help organization to understand the voice of customer.
Absolutely.
This can be a good project. So I think my question to you is how AI is going to revolutionize the project management in smaller steps to a bigger step.
So, of course, I have an inherent passion for project management as well. So there are
Yeah.
two key themes playing out here. One is ascertaining how the customer lifecycle is progressing and what is the sentiment and experience of the customer at every touch point. That is one. It is becoming easier to do this, but to run a project like this requires a different approach than the previous one that we used to do earlier. So the surveys that we used to conduct earlier, I will call it in the pre-AI era, they are undergoing massive change, because just by looking at, let's say, assume that this project is going on for a large organization which has some product. There's a tons and tons of data already available in the information repository of that organization where people have come. Example, I'll not take name of any automotive giant, but let's say a passenger vehicle automotive giant is there. Post service, you don't need to present a survey that whether you are satisfied or not satisfied. The journey has been defined, data points are being captured. AI will help you already measure whether that person is satisfied or not satisfied. And if not satisfied, then the only question that you should go back to that customer is, how can we improve it? Instead of asking the basic question. This is what the paradigm change from in terms of customer experience gathering and so-called research project goes. But having said that, the way of conducting this itself is significantly different. There is no need for forms to be sent out. There is no need for anything. Data points themselves, AI algorithm applied over it, prediction score given. This is the predicted satisfaction level of this customer, and then reinforcing that with sample to ascertain reality in life, which is predicted versus actual. And this is the project which is very different than the traditional one. So I keep giving this example how things change so fast. Of course, this was a case with a physical product. There is a car, passenger vehicle. Doesn't matter which type, but just saying from sale to service. How would you look at satisfaction level? So tremendous amount of change in the way you do project management also. Of course, the tools will keep evolving for project management, but they're also becoming very intelligent. So the way you source data changes. I hope that gives a example of how tremendously different this world is going to be for just simple research.
Yes. Renu, you will agree that every project is unique. So AI may or may not be in a position to give some data which is to be explored further, because the things which are not known, even there will not be any historical data.
So what happens there is, there are areas which are new, and then because the data is not there, AI will not be very useful in those areas.
Okay.
But I tag that to data readiness of the organization. Because what happens is, when we think that there is no data, actually there is. It's just not available for AI to use, because data governance in an organization is an extremely difficult topic. I keep encountering this on a daily basis. A lot of customers say, we are ready for AI. And when we do AI readiness assessment, we find that they're not ready. It's not that their data is not there, it's just siloed, there's no correlation. And leaving it to AI to make correlations is very dangerous. That's still the purview of humans. And
okay,
in such cases, the first step that we ask is a data sanity or data governance project. Establish data governance policies, bring the data properly in one place, how it is being captured, how it is being a lot of MDM into master data management capabilities that need to be infused before AI will give you reliable results. Otherwise, biased results are always very dangerous, because people will think it's coming from AI and it's supposed to be right. It may not be.
Yeah. Actually, when you talked about data, and that was the point which so what was the next point? That getting the right data is the most critical thing in AI, because like in prompt engineering, we should have a right prompt to ask the questions. And that's what I explain most of the people in Marathi, that if you ask AI with right prompt, he will give right data. But if you get the wrong data, then what will be how to do counter check that data validity? Because that is more important for any of the market research or marketing research.
Absolutely. Because you need to know the underlying data set that is available to AI before it makes a recommendation.
Yeah.
Because let's say all flamingos are pink, but all birds are not pink.
Yes.
If we feed data only on flamingos, it will conclude that all birds are pink.
Yeah.
So that knowledge of underlying data set that has been fed to your AI model is extremely important.
Yes.
And that is where we need to train our people, our students,
Yes.
to question what kind of underlying data is there before they start making recommendations based on certain output from a generative AI based system.
Yes.
And it is even more very dangerous in case of RAG, retrieval augmented generators, and agentic AI. Because agentic AI reasons using the data. If the data itself is incomplete, biased, or simply not there, then agentic AI will fail. It cannot reason. It's like a student not having a background in chemistry, but being asked to make a comment on some pharma product. It's not going to work. So this is an extremely important aspect.
Okay, one more point, Renu, you were very nicely explained the sentiment analysis of the customers, probable customers, rather we can say.
Yeah.
So you should be digitally and emotionally intelligent. That was the word and sentence which you used in your presentation. Now, how to develop this digital and emotional intelligence in this Facebook era? That is my another question.
So context is everything here. For example, sentiment. This is a common problem that we come across, by the way. Sentiment analysis is also tagged with contextual social data. Nothing against people from Haryana, but they speak in a certain way. They're not offensive. That's the way they speak. Our AI was misfiring initially, thinking that the person is agitated. But we know that person from this area generally speaks like this. They're not being impolite or something. That's the normal behavior.
Okay.
I'm just giving an example here. So context is extremely important of what are we trying to say in terms of sentiment.
Okay.
And that is a skill that we have to make ready, where students, when they're doing this kind of research or this kind of project, they are aware of context. Sentiment is in alone itself is not there.
Yeah.
Sentiment is very culturally specific. And that is where humans come into play, to keep looking at what kind of data from where are we looking at, and what is the cultural context when we're doing sentiment analysis.
Okay.
So
Good.
this is a common problem. This happens actually in real world also.
I see. You also mentioned about virtual assistants to customer users, your users. I think this is what even doctors are practicing today while doing operations. Live help from robots for operations, and even any assistance required from outside through AI or through actual doctors. So can you suggest any of the projects to our management students in type of the virtual assistants to customers or users?
Yes, absolutely. So virtual assistants have become very common these days, both on the website or mobile. Now we need to understand which sector we want to do this. So virtual assistants are very tailored. There is no AGI, right? There is no generic AI.
Okay.
So a shopper assistant on, let's say, an e-commerce site can be tailored very specifically for the kind of products. I'm also on the board of Global Artisans. So I'll give you an example.
Okay.
So I've asked an agency to make a virtual assistant for customers. But since this company does handcrafted stuff for customers, the context has been set that it needs to be able to help any visitor for the kind of handcrafted articles that they're looking for. There's a very specific use case with a very specific kind of customer clientele, because the people who are coming here are not coming here because it is giving cheaper than Amazon. They're giving because it's handcrafted. There is a tradition and there is a background. Now, to train this kind of chatbot or virtual assistant, you need context, and this is the kind of super focused projects that I will recommend. I'm just giving an example. There are many other ones that are out there, and it's relatively easy to do also. It's not that difficult.
Yeah. So I suggest, Renu, if you have any of these type of projects to be done by our students and to be monitored by our faculty members, I will definitely like to invite you for the induction program, which is planned now in the month of September. So I will take your convenient time so that we can have such kind of live project to the management students.
Absolutely. Doing live projects
Right.
is the best way of getting them ready.
You rightly said that AI is not to be learned theory, but practically. So with this, that there will be a good exposure to my faculties as well as to students. So wonderful. I have my marketing team expert, Dr. Rajendra here sitting next to me. He wanted to interact with you and then we'll take a couple of questions. Is it okay, Renu?
Sure, absolutely.
Hello, sir. Good evening. Thank you very much for your insights. And this was really a deep dive into marketing applications of AI. And I don't think that this one session is sufficient enough to get into a more insights that you have provided at this one session itself. And we'd really like to come up with more such sessions in coming days, as what sir has already told you, because there is a vast application of AI in marketing and sales. As nowadays, one question from my side with respect to this is that you talked about AI applications in classroom and teaching. One thing what we are really hoping up to is how can you quote an example of how AI can be applied to personalize teaching feedbacks to students? Anything that you can quote with
Yes,
that
yeah, absolutely. We actually do this in a very different way in enterprise. See, what happens is it starts with the assessment part of it. So
right.
The student, I mean, regardless of whether it's sitting in university, college, or in an enterprise, there is based on a lot of points that are captured about the student, there is a TNI, training need identification.
Yes.
So that lend itself to some algorithms where AI can help, but it depends on data, that how much data you are able to capture. So what happens is a lot of assessments can be done based on variety of questions, and a picture emerges where the training need is more needed for that student, where they are strong, where they are slightly weaker, and then the training program or the classroom sessions can be tailored in such a way. That is one way that we do actually.
One more time. One more. Okay. Yeah, complete yours.
We do it in a certainly different way. Because we have a lot of conversations that we record and transcribe, we are able to tell where the training need is. But in case of students, MBA students, it will be slightly different, where you will have to look at a lot more assessments, micro assessments, and then over a period of time, a picture will emerge where you can tailor that this methodology will be more useful for this bunch of students, because you'll have to cluster the students and because you cannot have, I mean, while you can potentially have one-to-one or highly personalized training roadmaps, in practical you will bunch up some kind of clustering, and then you will apply. This is a specific methodology that will work for this cluster of students. One-to-one can do, but it is very intensive. I mean, I'm not sure whether you can try this with classroom students. It can be done theoretically, yes. The framework is there.
So one more question with respect to this is, how do you see the physical libraries, that means book libraries and information sources that are made available at the institute level? Will they survive in this digital transformation and AI applications, the information age?
They will coexist, because there is scientific data that there is a difference between reading a physical book versus a digital book.
Yeah.
There is scientific data about retention.
Right.
The fact that you read a physical book, make notes, annotations there, has something different about the human mind, which is wired differently. Because what happens in a digital medium is there is a bombardment of a lot of information. The tendency is to hog a lot of information without sufficient retention, and that doesn't help, because all the connections don't happen, and that those connections are important for cognitive growth of the person. So I believe both will survive, but the ability to ingest information will obviously differ between physical books and digital books, because in this age of expectations, people want summaries and just very quickly without reading the entire stuff. And sometimes it is good, sometimes it is bad, depending on context. If you want 500 books just quickly given to you, AI is definitely the only way, because you cannot read 500 books very easily. But if you want in-depth, clear mechanism on the mind, physical book is no substitute. There is no substitute for this. I still believe that.
Right. Okay. Sir, we'll be opening up the session for more question and answers from the participants.
Sure.
You can ask questions if the participants are not asking. Our faculty, Rupali Modak, is there, coordinator for this.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I have one question. As per students and faculty, like as you're talking about AI technologies, so my question is, there are many AI technology systems. So what are the key AI technologies that faculty should focus, when guiding students on customer experience projects?
I will go back to my previous slides where I had talked
Yes.
about some key technologies. So there is, most of the AI will have that capability, but what needs to be looked at is these technologies. Teach enough about NLP and how it works, machine learning, speech recognition, and computer vision. These are the fundamentals. Of course, generative.
Okay,
Beyond that, how to synthesize using all of them, or like I said, multimodal. That's the skill that people need to evolve into. But the basics have to be, this is like ABCD of everything. Then using those in combination, synthesizing an output which is useful for a given project or a given enterprise project for customer experience. Not one technology will help. All of them have to be understood in today's world, at least.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
Sir, good evening, sir. Harshal Patil, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'm PhD student and I'm pursuing the PhD on the topic data culture in organization and effective adoption of business analytics for enhanced organizational performance. So as an industry expert, I would like to ask a question like, in your experience, how important is data culture in driving strategic decision within the organization?
In terms of importance, topmost.
Yeah.
In terms of practice, very much less so. People are still making emotional decisions based on gut feel.
Yeah, correct.
Which is, see, there is no substitute for human intuition, by the way. It sometimes works. The only trouble with human intuition, gut feel, is it can also misfire. There is more reliability if you are basing it on some data.
Okay.
So, at least in our enterprise, we try to use as much as possible data based decisions. It may not always be possible, but as much as possible. And fortunately for us, we have a lot of data. So it is relatively easy for us. It may not be as easy for, let's say, a manufacturing, or absolutely not easy, given the example of global artisans that I had given, where there is handcrafted stuff. It depends on which organization. Of course, data is there. How much is the question?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Hello, sir. So my one more question, as you correctly mentioned that AI can give us as many as answer, but we cannot totally rely on it. So, sir, according to you, what are the biggest challenges organizations are facing when they are implementing AI to improve customer experience? Because now we have a chatbot system everywhere. So,
The challenges are many actually, but most of them hover around this. I'm going to. The challenges starts obviously from data. Even if you want to put a customer service chatbot, the technology is there, but the chatbot in itself will not answer correctly unless you're training it properly. And typically, because we do this implementation a lot, typically even for us with all the ready-made data, it takes anywhere between 3 to 6 months before the chatbot achieves what we call as 90% accuracy. There is no 100% accuracy ever there anywhere in the world. Even to achieve 90% accuracy, what is accuracy here? Customer is trying to say something. Intent recognition itself is the biggest problem. So just putting an engine is not going to work, because that engine is like a baby. That baby knows nothing about that. And it will try to make up its own interpretation and answer some weird things. So that baby has to be trained. Training, even for AI, takes 3 to 6 months. That is the biggest challenge that we see putting, let's say, conversational assistants for customer experience. Of course, there are other things.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any other question? I'll send you links, Kulkarni sir, on the books and other things that are there. People can take benefit out of that.
Yeah. Okay, actually, Rupali wanted to ask questions, but is it not audible to you?
I am just hearing your voice, not Rupali's voice. Not right now.
Okay. So I'll just say one question from Dr. Sujata. How does a beginner to AI go about it? Kindly suggest recommended reading and online courses.
Yes. So there are a lot of courses.
Yes.
From Stanford, Harvard, every Cornell, everybody. But the question is, where do you start from absolute start? I will say there are a few books I will send out. There are courses which are inexpensive courses available, which give you background in what AI is really. And then, and I'll have the slide also circulated separately for this. which will list some of the recommended reading. And that's just recommendation from me. There are other pathways available outside, but generally I will suggest start from understanding how data and AI interact. That's the starting point. There is no need to become a data scientist for this, but understanding how it works together, starting point. And I'll send specific ones with links. I hope that answers the question. Because I don't want to be biased for any one particular type of course.
No, no. That is very good. But since you have experience in basically project management, I personally was interested to see that the students at the beginner level should use your books as starter for AI and then develop the projects.
That is one. And also Project Management Institute has some beginner courses also for AI in project management. So they are available freely for all PMI members. So if your students are becoming members, they can do that. Membership is not always paid. There is a different tier as well available from PMI. And they can try this. And those beginner courses, but honestly, those beginner courses are absolute beginner courses. You know, absolutely very beginning level. But
Actually, Renu, it's very pleasure that since you took the charge as a president of PMI Pune Deccan India chapter, Dr. Girish Kelkar, Girish Kadam, and all the PMI presidents were behind me for getting membership. And under your leadership, now our students have taken the membership, and our institute is now PMI student chapter also, and they are participating in the all the programs of PMI online.
Very happy to hear that. And there are some beginner level courses. Of course, they are very tailored for project management professionals, but I think that is a good starting point also. If somebody wants to do.
Good. So I think next time I have already invited you for the induction program. Rupali will take the dates from you and your time so that you can bring your books, because we will believe in hardbound books instead of e-books, because I will like to see how students are referring it, and the same can be done for the next books review program, and same can be continued for the certification. So with this, I think it's already coming to 5 o'clock. I will like to thank you from my bottom of my heart, from the institute and from my level as the director of IICMR, that it was really a great inspirational, insightful session for us to learn AI and use it. And I think it will be fruitful for us when the students and faculty member use it for this incoming semester in 2025-26. And since I'm inviting you in advance to this new batch of MBA student, it will be good that you address them, you inspire them, so that more and more students will be taking the projects, doing the applied things of AI, and we will be the part of AI generation, which is the need of time for the growing Indian economy. So thank you very much on behalf of IICMR. Once again, I thank. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. And thank you very much for inviting me. Always a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
The feedback link will be provided in the chat box by Rupali. Please give the feedback to us. Thank you.
आज लवकर झालं का?
रिपोर्टिंग नव्हती ना.
आले नाही का?
तुमच्या 2च रिपोर्टिंग माझ्या होते ना.
हा, आमचे 2च आले.
20 रिपोर्ट
एकाने फ्रीज केलं पण पुढे काय ऍक्शन्स घेतले नाही.
लॉग इन करून 20 रिपोर्ट टाकून घेतले.
रोज पाठवावं लागतो का तुम्हाला?